Our next up, we're gonna head on over to North Carolina, and we are going to welcome back Ellis Osborn.
Hey everybody. Hey John. Thank you so much, Sarah. I loved your set. I really liked the last song too. I just love the groove. So good to see everybody. I'm going to start with an older song, and it's called Radio Man, and it's about one of my favorite writers of all time, Rod Serling. And we have GalaxyCon happening right now in Raleigh, and William Shatner and a whole bunch of cool people. I didn't go, but it's happening at our convention center. So here's to Rod Serling and sci-fi. I hear the stars fight somewhere in the Milky Way. Spaceship in a cornfield, gremlin tears apart the seat stuffed with hay. Escaping the living doll, I run up Maple Street. I see the Nazi on trial, the Martians chat. Will history repeat? I once knew a radio man who wished he could fly, and his voice choked with grief. Never forget him. Friend shot dead in the sky. So let's run into the fire, holding ourselves so high. Shout above the voices that tell us, tell us we can't even try. What are the monsters serving tonight on the Twilight Zone? A hearty meal of mankind, so past the salt. It's a trip into the unknown. Don't get too cold now in the midnight sun, 'cause I believe you're going my way. Lend me some faith. Another war's begun. And I once knew a radio man who wished he could fly. His voice choked with grief, never forget it. His friend shot dead in the sky. Let's run into the fire, holding our swords so high. Shout above the voices that tell us, tell us we can't even fly. I once knew a radio man who wished he could fly. Thank you, Radio Man. And this next song is called King of Cool, and it's about Steve McQueen, who died in 1980. He was only 50 years old, just like Rod Serling was only 50. They had a lot of lung heart problems, which exacerbated their early demise. But both men lived to their fullest, and I was inspired to write this song after watching the movie Bullet, and they had a biopic after the movie. I used to own a Mustang, and I thought, well, Steve, he wanted everyone to know that he drove. And back then, everything was practical effects. It was 1968, so everything was, real. And I thought this was the coolest thing. And what made him different from everybody else, and why we still talk about Steve McQueen today. Today I idle I bike in this field. It's dry as a Southern Baptist wedding. And in the movies, well, I worked my own stunts, except when Bud jumped that fence. I don't smoke, I don't drink anymore. My body's given up for telling me the score. I never kissed my father's cheek, but he saw me on TV every week. Nights Uncle Claude threw me against walls after spending the day drinking whiskey. No, I don't smoke, I don't drink anymore, 'cause my body's given up for telling me the score. You need to know I drove the Mustang. You need to know I get the last word. Maybe other people can fail, but I can't choose. 'Cause when I die, it'll be front page news. I was dust that blew into Chino, where I never was tall or strong enough. And when I became a star of the screen, you know I gave them Chino boys soap and jeans. Soap and jeans, now you can run, but you cannot avoid, oh, a body, oh, a life all destroyed. You need to know I drove the Mustang. You need to know I get the last word. Maybe other people can fail, but I can't choose. So when I die, it'll be, when I die, it'll be front page news. Front page news. Front page news. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So there was Chino, California, a little bit of California in there, and that was the reform school where he was sent. Steve McQueen was sent by his mother to reform himself, and he was a life of extremes. He got a distinguished medal in the Marines, and then he was kicked out of the Navy, and yeah, he was one of a kind. The next song is called Old Derelicts, and I was inspired by a woodcut painting. Forrest Glenslade, he lives in Chatham County, and it was an old truck. And my husband, in fact, is right now at the Harrisburg Mecum auction in Pennsylvania, and he just bought a new car. So this song is about old cars, old derelicts, and I feel I have a little bit of knowledge about old cars based on my husband's aficionadoism and fanaticism about that sort of thing. That's not my thing, but anyway, it's in the song. Why did you park me by the barn on that old Chatham County farm? Well, I miss new paint and new shocks. Please remove my blocks. We fix the leaks and we stop the squeaks, but I can't roll. Nowhere to go except to feel the the ghost ripping my weed, ripping my weed, yeah. Bob crosses my flat tires, stuck in the grass. Circles of time repeating so fast. I listen to the crickets in twilight. Oh, a new V8 engine under my hood. We worked so well together when everything was good. Yeah, it was so good, but why did you park me by the barn? That old Chatham County farm. I miss new painted new shocks. Please remove my blocks. And we fix the leaks and we stop the squeaks. But I can't roll, nowhere to go except to feel the ghost ripping my wheel, ripping my wheel. Bob chases the rain along the window pane, forgets about the cans in the chain link frame. Yeah, I listen to the crickets in twilight, oh, bit of rust. It's all his voices now, tinged with whiskey and dust, with whiskey and dust. But why did you park me by the barn on that old Chatham County farm? Well, I miss new painted new shocks. Please remove my blocks, my blocks. We fixed the leaks and we stopped the squeaks. But I can't roll, there's nowhere to go except to feel the ghost ripping my wheel. Except to feel the ghost ripping my wheel, oh, ripping my wheel. Thank you. So my new album is called Skirts in the Snow, and it is 12 original songs about the Donner Party, told from the point of view of the women and girls who survived. We luckily have so many of their actual words that survived, and because of newspaper reporting and because of diaries, and as a writer, that's where I started before I became a musician. I'm fascinated by the whole story. But the women had their own truth, and they were able to preserve many of these stories. The chief historian was a little girl. Of course, she became a big girl. Her name was Patty Reed, and she was 8 years old at the time of the Donner Party disaster, which was 1846. And on June 6, 1918, she was one of the 3 surviving women to dedicate the Pioneer Monument, which is now at Donner Memorial State Park, and they just took it out down the scaffolding, and it's really, really pretty. It's all all shiny, and I'm going to see it in September for Donner Party Hike Weekend. Yay! And I'm one of the Sierra speakers, and you can look that up on their website. But anyway, this song is called The Snow Won't Ever Melt. It's Patty's story, and what's really cool about Patty Reed Lewis is that she preserved so many of her father, James Reed's, diaries and books, and we have her to thank for so much of what we know today about the Donner Party. So, here's the song. Don't fancy the mountains, don't talk much about the past. Some places grip your heart and you cling to them like a life raft. I love having the bed to myself and any kind of food. Grateful for sunshine, but rain puts me in a dreadful mood. And I'll hold her, she's all I have. black eyes and black hair. I won't share her with my sister. It's us against the eyes and theirs. I cry at night where no one can see. I cry at night where I am free. I cry at night to break the spell. And I cry, cry, cry. But the snow won't ever melt. My grandchildren see an old lady warming her hands always cold. Not the little girl too short to stand up in the snow, yeah. And long ago on the dusty trail I could hold her in my hand. I went back to pick her up after Mama threw her in the sand. You'll never take her, she's the only thing that's mine. I usually listen to the rules, but I can't leave her behind. I cry at night when no one can see. I cry at night when I am free. I cry at night to break the spell. And I cry, cry, cry. But the snow, it won't ever melt. We honor the pioneer statue, has that winter snowfall. The Donner sisters don't smile, they listen to a lonely call. I clutch you tight to my dress, remember our ruined plans. I once told Mama, if you don't see me again, just do the best, just do the best you can. Did someone mark our trail, the forgotten camp of death? Now the train surges past the summit, too busy to catch its breath. And everyone who saw the spring again lost everything they ever owned. We're a big part of a small sad tale. Daddy's dreams let us far from home, from home. Well, I cry at night when no one can see. I cry at night when I am free. I cry at night to break the spell. And I cry, cry, cry. But the snow won't ever melt. Thank you so much. All right, my last song is my signature song. It's already out on Spotify and all the cool streaming channels, and it's called Are You Men from California or Do You Come from Heaven? It marks the 175th, well, back 175 years ago, the first rescue party defied the odds of starvation, cold, frostbite, lack of food, doubt, death. Well, there was no death in their party, but they were close to it. And none of them were related to any of the Donner Party. All of them were folks who said, this is the right thing to do. We got to save these people. And unfortunately, they saved them, and we have 25,000 people today because of these 7 people. And this is called, Are You Men from California or Do You Come from Heaven? And thank you all so much. Y'all are awesome. Hope is like bread. What does it taste like? Muddled and dirty shawls. The cheeks are sunken in. Are you surprised? We haven't all died. Are you surprised? We haven't all Mrs. Murphy pokes her head out here and shouts, she weakly says, are you men from California, or do you come from heaven? Oh, it's another bitter morning. In 1847 we've been waiting so long for you. Birds won't sing, our hearts are dim. Can you scoop up a speck of light? Please help us. Whoa, it's too hard to cry. Ready the strong, faithful fight the snow, wrap-tied heads and toes. For the 90 miles, it's a long drive. Keep the kids alive. Yes, it's a long drive. Keep my kids alive. And then Mrs. Murphy, she pokes her head out here and shouts and weakly says, are you men from California, or do you come from heaven? Belief is tough to come by. In 1847 we've been waiting so long for you. The birds won't sing, our hearts are dim. Can you scoop up a speck of light? Please help us. It's too hard to cry. Whisper prayers, kiss the little ones. It's not over yet. See how they fly high from the herd. The clouds hang close. Who wants to live the most? Those clouds hang close. Who wants to live the most? And then Mrs. Murphy, she points to the dead, smiles, weakly says, are you men from California, or do you come from heaven? It's another bitter morning. In 1847, goodbye. Men, brave, sound, and true. Well, I can't sing, my heart is dim, but I will eat up a speck of light. You can't help me. No, you can't help me. It's too late to cry. Y'all rock. Y'all on the other side soon. Bye.
Thank you, Alice. Great set.